Geeks with beards. Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of the Geeks with Beards podcast with your hosts, Dan and Shaun. Today, we're going to be covering Groo The Wanderer #1 by Sergio Aragones from 1985 Epic Comics, which I found out was an imprint of Marvel Comics. I guess kind of like their Star Comics was, too. But before we jump into that, let's get a little caught up from last episode, man. What's been going on?
Let's see. We're prepping for our last show. It'll be next week.
A little bittersweet, I guess, ain't it?
It is.
Yeah.
But as far as fun stuff, I've watched a lot of movies.
Oh, wow, okay.
My friend, she's made me watch movie 43.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
No, I don't know nothing about it.
It's like it's like divided up into scenes, and like each scene is like its own like story. Like Hugh Jackman's in it.
Okay.
And he has like testicles hanging from his throat.
Okay.
So it's that kind of comedy.
Okay. Foreign movie?
Huh?
Foreign movie?
No, it's a domestic. Like there's a bunch of Hollywood people in it.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like what's those movies that make fun of is it a Scary Movie?
Oh yeah, satire.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
In the vein of that.
Okay.
Let's see. We watched a couple episodes of the Ted TV show.
I've seen that, but I hadn't watched it yet though.
It's better than I expected.
Is it pretty good?
I've not seen the movie, so
movies are decent. You stand Mark Wahlberg. The movies are decent. First one's better than the second one, in my personal opinion.
okay. Well, he's not in.
Yeah,
the
'cause
show,
this is like a prequel, right?
I guess so.
I guess because it's younger Wahlberg character, I think.
That I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I forget his name. I forget the character's name that Wahlberg plays in those movies.
But it was good. It's a sitcom.
Okay.
So, and we watched The Other Guys is with The Rock and who else is in that movie?
Oh damn, that movie sounds familiar, but I don't remember who's in it.
Is it Marky Mark that's in that?
Wahlberg might be in that one
Yeah.
too, maybe.
Oh yeah, Mark Wahlberg. Yeah.
Is it Will Ferrell in there too?
Yes.
Is he?
Yes.
Okay, that's probably why I didn't remember that movie, because it's got Will Ferrell and The Rock both in it. So
For a Will Ferrell movie, it was actually pretty decent.
okay, all right,
And there was one more we watched, White Chicks.
that's a good one. I like that movie.
That was better than I expected.
I like that movie. That's funny. Yeah, hell, with them making another scary movie, you never know, they might make a sequel to White Chicks.
That's fair too. You never know.
You never know, because the Wayans, man. I like it. White Chicks was pretty good.
Yeah. And yeah. What about you, man?
Man, I ain't really watched much of nothing. Honestly, just the YouTube stuff like normal. Got mom to watch the Flash Gordon movie from 80. Damn it, when was it? 82? I think it was 82. First time I think she'd ever actually watched it all the way through, because she'd known of it and watched clips here and there on TV. She actually liked it. I was surprised. I didn't know if she'd like it or not. I think it was the Queen music too. It got her. She's a big fan of Queen, like I am, so I think that got her too. Hearing Queen playing some music in the movie. Got some new comics. I hadn't read any of them just yet. Last Wednesday and hopefully tonight, I've been going on Jman's channel again and been talking the 1980s Marvel Comics G.I. Joe.
I'm going to start charging these bitches for reading you out.
Well,
you hear that, everybody?
Normally I can't do anything because it's usually on the weekends I have to work, but he's doing this one on Wednesday, and he asked me if I want to, and I'm like, I've honestly never read the G.I. Joe comics before, surprisingly. I only own the Transformer ones.
I was supposed to say you read the new ones though, right?
I do read the new ones.
Okay.
Yeah, these are the original ones from the 80s. I had never read those before. I have the reprint of the first issue. Man, after reading, because tonight will be covering 5 through 8. After reading these first 8 issues, they have done compendiums and went on Amazon. Dude, those compendiums, like the first compendium covers issue 1 through 50, and the second one I forget exactly. It's like 51 to something. I forgot how far it goes. They're cheap, man. Like $35 a piece, and them things are fucking thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're paperbacks, but they're cheap. Because I bought the, I think I shared this on our Discord and maybe our Facebook page. The Transformers UK compendium I found hid up here at the mall, Books A Million, and it's just as thick, it's like 1,000-something pages, and it's like $65. So the G.I. Joe one's the same amount of pages almost for like half that price, for like $35. I'm like, I might pick those up because I'm getting into reading them. I actually enjoy these G.I. Joe books; they're pretty good actually. Way different than the '80s cartoon, more mature. Like people actually die in the comic books, and they're not using lasers; they're using regular bullets. So, but
I expect compensation.
Well, I feel like
You're a whore.
Yes, but I mean, I'm trying to get her name out there and stuff.
I'm just fucking with you.
I know.
It's good.
I know. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's about it. So we'll go ahead and get into this. Groo The Wanderer, #1 by Sergio Aragones from 1985 by Epic Comics. Like I said, this is a imprint of Marvel. And I'll give you a little background at the end of the episode about this, because apparently this book has been around, or this character, has been around for quite a while. This was another listener request from Dirty Old Pete from Good Beer, Bad Movie and Give Me Back. And there's also a new podcast he's on with Anna, the Scream Queen, but I forget it, so we'll have to add that in later. I forget the name of it. But so we'll jump into this, and we open to it is cool too, a huge double-page spread of artwork. It's got like hundreds of characters in it, people and animals. It's like, I guess it's in the middle of a little city square, or a town square, I guess, and they're just doing all kinds of different stuff, just talking and, little markets going, so they're buying food and stuff and everything. But you also have, a minstrel. If you don't know what a minstrel is, it's somebody back then that
It's a period. Oh, wait, what?
No, not spelled that way.
My bad.
Could have been, maybe. I don't know. But if you don't know what a minstrel is, I'm guessing they don't exist anymore. But they were somebody that would tell a tale to music. They would be playing an instrument, usually. I'm going to say a little guitar. You may be more familiar with exactly what it would be.
It looked like a lute.
A lute? Okay,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Which seems period correct for this.
Okay, so they'd be playing a lute, but they also be telling a tale, telling a story about a character. Well, this minstrel is telling the people of this town the tale of Groo, the Wanderer. And basically, Groo is an idiot. To put it nicely, he's an idiot, really, he is.
Pretty much.
If you looked at him, and real quick about the artwork, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, again, a little bit on the history later, but I think Sergio also did some stuff with Mad Magazine, because this looks very much like Mad Magazine type artwork.
It does.
In my opinion. But he's supposed to be, I guess, I don't know if purposely or not, because again, like I said, we'll talk about history. Kind of a Conan. He's a barbarian looking character, but he's got samurai swords, instead of like broadswords or whatever.
He's the Dollar General Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, in a way.
He's like the GoBots.
There
was an ad in there for him.
Oh, yeah, there was. Yeah, that's true. So, we see that one day, King Cassibist, a somewhat masochist, needed to get food to feed his queen. So he asked Groo to go collect food due to the regular food collector was killed in a poultry stampede earlier in the week. This book's crazy. It's fun, but it's crazy. So he tells Groo, he's like, go ahead and get food for the peasants as well, because I hear they like to eat as well, but mostly focus on getting it for my queen. happy wife, happy life. My queen. He's a shit king. He's not a good king either. He's like, I guess the people's got to eat. Focus on my queen. So Groo says, he's like, I got a job as a food collector. He's like, I've never got food for anybody but myself before. He's like, oh, this is going to be a whole lot of cheese dip. Just like, there's no cheese dip. It's fun. Then he discovers that they want meat, which then Groo's thinking to himself, he's like, whoa, he's like, that's completely different than cheese dip. He's like, that's going to be way more difficult. He's like, meat's got legs. Yeah. It can run away from me. He's like, I got to think about this. So we find out that the king is not going to send him by himself because he knows how Groo is. So he's going to send a team with him, a few other guys with him. And the team consists of skinners, butchers, spotters, so they can follow him. And once he sees the food and finds where it's at, they will be, I guess, and plus after he kills it, they will take over, like field dressing it, getting it ready to bring back to the village. Because they all know of Groo's deeds, and they're just like, yeah, no, you're not going by yourself. So he says, to the other men, Groo asks him, he's like, how is the food foraging done in these parts? And they tell him, like, look, number one, you find a herd. Number two, you find a cliff. You run them off the cliff. And the ones that don't die from the fall are finished off, and then we carve them up and bring them back to the village and to the queen. And Groo's like, oh, okay. I've never done that before. Yeah. They're like, look, it's simple. Just follow our instructions. It should not be a problem. It becomes a problem because Groo finally sees a herd, and I'm not for sure exactly. I think I spelled this right. TRO, I think VE, trove. To me, they look almost like buffalo or something like that. That's kind of what they look like to me.
That's what I got from it.
Yeah, but it says trove. I'm like, okay. But again, maybe this is a word in Sergio's vocabulary that I'm not aware of. So he sees this herd, and they're grazing in like this little field or whatever. And so Groo's like, okay, I found the herd. Then what was the next thing I'm supposed to do? Oh, that's right. Drive them off a cliff. So that's what he does. He starts to go to drive them off a cliff. He checks the wind direction and the wind speed. Then he crawls into the direction of where the herd is in the tall grass, trying not to be seen. Well, he decides, hey, let's just start herding them off, get them off the cliff. So he jumps up. He yells at them. But instead of running away from him, the herd charges towards him. And they all go off the cliff, Groo included. Every one of them goes off the cliff. And the other guys are just standing there just like, oh, yep, should have known. Should have known. So we find out that, and I don't understand, it didn't really say, but apparently due to what happened, the village went vegetarian. I'm like, but they did go over the cliff. I understand Groo did too, but all the other people didn't go over the cliff with them. Some of those animals would have died, so you still could have collected the meat, I'm assuming. Unless there's something I missed when I was reading this. I don't know.
That may be too much logic for this book.
I don't know. But when we turn the page, it says, due to this, the village went vegetarian, and they haven't seen a steak for years. I'm like, damn. So the king decides to put Groo in the army to help defend the village. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I know Groo is stupid. I don't think the king is very bright because you sent him to collect meat. He failed at that job. And now apparently you guys have not seen meat in years. But you decide to put him in the army and have him defend the village. You think that's going to come out good on you? No, Mr. King, it's not. So, but that's what he does. Helps him. He says, look, I'm going to put you in the army. I'm going to help defend the village. This is your job. I need you to do this job correctly, precisely. He says, I need you to go to the bridge, the south bridge, to be more specific, and I'll need you to guard that bridge with your life. Groo says, yes, sir, I will. I'll guard that bridge with my life. King says, good, go do it. So then we see an invading army shows up on the other side of the bridge. They're like, well, well, there's a guy standing on the bridge. I wonder if he's going to be any trouble. They start edging a little bit closer. Well, he's not drawing his sword, but he's looking right at us. A little bit closer. Still doesn't draw his sword. Okay, let's try to go across the bridge and see what happens. Nothing. The invading army goes across the bridge. Groo just stands there and lets them go across the bridge and then invade the village. And you hear all kinds of, groans and moans and yells and screams because the village is being invaded. Well, the king shows up a little bit later and Groo says, what happened? He's like, you should have had me help fight instead of guarding this bridge. And the king yells at him, he's like, you were supposed to guard the bridge. And Groo said, I did guard the bridge. Look at it. Nobody damaged this bridge. This bridge looks great. The king kind of just looks at him like, you son of a gun, you. So, excuse me. So the king gets angry, calls him a troglodyte, and has him flogged every night in prison. But apparently it didn't seem to really affect Groo that much because they've got him hanging in like one of those almost, like you've seen in those old movies where it's like a big cage, almost like a big bird cage for humans hanging from a chain, in the dungeon. So it says here that apparently the flogging didn't really affect Groo. Didn't have the effect they wanted it to have on him. So the king decides, look, I've got to get Groo out of here. We've got to do something to get rid of him. And all of his advisors are like, well, what do you have planned? What's on your mind, king? What are you going to do? He's like, okay, I need to find a mission to send him on that basically is a suicide mission that he won't survive. He's like, I can't really outright kill him myself. So we're going to make it look like, he died in battle. So I've got to figure this out. So he does. He figures out the plan. And his little plan is he wants to conquer this other city called Ojul. But he knows that, unfortunately, Ojul is a little bit bigger than his kingdom is and a little bit more well-guarded, a little bit more soldiers than he can handle. So his plan is that they're going to try to, instead of getting Ojul, they're going to try to attack their little smaller ally, Botan, which is, not as guarded and not as, heavily armed. So the king has Groo lead a small army to attack Ojul. And he knows that if he has them attack Ojul, he knows that Botan will send reinforcements because they're allies. And when they send the reinforcements to go help Ojul, that's when the king will go attack Botan and secure the city. And he's also thinking, once he gets there, that the Botan soldiers that go to help Ojul will also hopefully kill Groo in the process. So Groo's like, I get to lead an army? I get to lead soldiers? Okay, cool. And everybody else is like, no, what the? No, wait. First he screws up our food. Then he lets us get invaded. Now you're putting him at the head of an army and what the hell, king? So, and it's funny, dude, because you see him walking ahead of the group of soldiers and he's all happy. He's like, yeah, I'm finally going to lead some soldiers and I'm going to go into the battle. I'm going to be the top dog. And you see behind him the other soldiers, they are riding out their wheels, saying, to whom it concerns. And a couple of them are like, we're going to die. We're not going to survive this. Why did I sign up for this? So once they get to Ojul, Groo doesn't even give them time to notice that he's there with an army. He just full bore, bare ass runs right to the castle of Ojul, to the kingdom, and he catches them by surprise. And by doing that, the forces don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle his savagery and just how crazy he is coming at them, So they actually surrender. He actually wins Ojul.
Just by running.
Just by running and catching them off guard. They have no time to prepare. They're just like, what crazy bastard does this? Who is this guy? So they surrender to him. So Groo and his little small army wins Ojul, which was completely opposite of what the king's plan was supposed to happen. So he wins Ojul. Well, the king's advisor shows up. He's like, what the hell just happened? Groo's like, we won. And the advisor's like, oh my God, I gotta go tell the king what happened. He's like, oh, by the way, you weren't supposed to win, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. And Groo's like, wait, what? I wasn't supposed to win? He's like, no, the king's plan was for you not to win, but it's okay. I'm going to go tell him you won. Just stay right here. And Groo's like, well, the king won't be happy if I didn't do what he wanted me to do. I've got to lose. So Groo hands the kingdom back over to Ojel's people. And they're just like, you're doing what? He's like, yeah, I got to make the king happy. The king didn't want me to win. I kind of did the wrong thing, so I've got to make sure he's happy, so I'm going to give it back to you. I'm going to lose. So the advisor goes to Botan, which the king has completely took over, completely won the battle. And he tells the king, like, you will not believe what just happened. Groo and his little forces took Ojel. He's like, now we've got both kingdoms. We've got Botan and Ojel. And the king's like, oh my gosh. This is a happy day for my kingdom. I can't believe this happened. It's not the outcome that I wanted, but it's a better outcome. All right, guys, let's go. So they leave Botan to go to Ojel. And as they're basically kind of coming in, I guess the back door, Groo and his forces are going out the front door. But by doing this, now Ojel's forces are fully prepared. They're all armed up and they're ready for an invading army to come through. So as Groo and them are leaving, he's happy. He's like, oh, the king's going to be so happy. I did what he wanted me to do. Here comes the king and his forces from Botan through the back door, and they get decimated, basically. They get wiped out. And and after that happens, the king basically, he ends up becoming a pacifist. He's like, I'm done with this. No more, we're not doing it anymore. And we see at the end of our story, we see that Groo has found himself a fair. He's like, ooh, it's like a fair. He's like, I'm going to go have some fun. This looks like this is going to be fun. So he goes to the fair, and we have the minstrel who is there, and he is again telling a tale about Groo's adventures. And he's basically been telling this story. And Groo's listening to it. He's like, man, this person is a fool. This person's stupid. Who would even let this guy in their kingdom like that? And then he's like, then he hears the guy say his name. He hears the guy say Groo. And then he's like, wait a minute. I'm Groo. He wouldn't be son of a gun. He's talking about me. He's making me sound like a fool. I'm not a fool. I'm Groo. I'm a great soldier. So we see the end of the story. Groo's basically got his swords out and he's chasing the minstrel around the fair. I think he's going to try to kill him. That was my guess from it. So he's running him around. He's running around the fair and just basically like runs him out of the fair. And that's how our story ends. That's how our first issue of Groo the Wanderer ends, is he's chasing a minstrel out of the fair saying, don't talk bad about me. Don't say I'm stupid. I'm not stupid. I'm a great soldier.
That's funny.
Dude, Pete, thank you, man, because this was funny from start to finish.
It was actually really good.
I laughed from start to finish on this one. I really, really enjoyed it. Knowing nothing about it, again, like I say a lot of times, this is a first time.
Excuse me, the interruption.
Like I've said, almost not every episode, but several episodes. This was a first time read. I'd never even heard of this comic book until Pete made a suggestion, and I was able to pick these up. Not too expensive. They weren't too bad. I picked up the first 2 issues. Probably won't pick up any more, but I got the first 2 just kind of get an idea of what they were like. And I liked it. I did. I enjoyed it a lot.
Did you read the second one?
Not yet. No, not yet. I'm gonna read it probably later today.
I think it was good. I like the artwork, and I like the writing is pretty good. It had a lot of music, like songs in it.
Yeah, the minstrel stuff was really cool. Yeah. He's kind of your narrator a little bit too, kind of letting you know what's going on. He sets you up and then he kind of lets you end it with him as well. I like that part about it too.
And Groo as a character, he reminds me, I don't know if you're familiar with Amelia Bedelia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She takes everything literally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that moment, where he turns over the castle back to him. That was exactly like that.
Yeah, it's funny. He's like, oh, I wasn't supposed to win? Oh, man, the king will be mad. I better do what he wanted. I better lose. Here, you can have the kingdom back.
Yeah. All right, so give us some history on
Yeah,
this.
I'm going to give you a little history. This is per Wikipedia. It's a fantasy comedy comic book created by Sergio Aragones, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name correctly. The stories are written and drawn by Aragones, edited by Mark Evanier, lettered by Stan Sakai, and colored by Tom Luth. Over the years, Groo has been published by Pacific Comics, Eclipse Comics, one issue there, Epic Imprint, the Marvel Comics, Image, and Dark Horse. His first appearance was in a book called Destroyer Duck #1, May of 1982. Let's see. Groo was among the first widely successful creator-owned comic creations, one of the few successful humorous series in the United States, outside of Archie Comics, of course. This is one of the longest-running collaborations in comic book history. In 2011, IGN ranked Groo 100th in the top 100 comic book superheroes. Comic book heroes. Let's see here. Let me get a little bit of... Here we go. Aragones created the character of Groo in the late 1970s. Of course, at that time, no comic book companies were really allowing creators to keep their properties.
Yeah.
They're like, hey man, well, it didn't give it a money price, but this is just coming out of my brain. At the end, they probably would have been like $1,000. And we'll, here you go. We'll buy the character from you, the rights. But, Aragones said no. He's like, this is mine. I'm keeping it. So it's why it took forever for him to ever get stories published. 1981, the Destroyer Duck #1 was published by Eclipse as a benefit to raise money for a legal battle over creative rights. So Aragones did a 4-page story about Groo, which was his first appearance. And then a few months later, he appeared in a 2-page preview ad and the back cover art for a book called Star Slayer #4, published by Pacific Comics. The second Groo story appearance in a 5-page backup story in the next issue of Star Slayer. In 82, Pacific Comics began publishing Groo the Wanderer as a regular series. Unfortunately, they faced some financial difficulties and was only able to publish 8 issues. With Pacific unable to publish new material, a one-shot was done, titled Groo Special, published by Eclipse. And then it says here, but when he was published by Pacific, he was not portrayed as a bumbling idiot. It says, in fact, one issue had him use his brains to create sophisticated traps, and his speech was similar to that of Conan the Barbarian. Interesting.
Yeah.
Then it says here, eventually they would negotiate a deal with Epic Comics, the imprint for Marvel, that's a company to take care of the publication while preserving creator rights. This resulted in the longest run of Groo the Wanderer with 120 issues.
Wow.
1994, Marvel, unfortunately, going through their financial difficulties, the book went to Image Comics, which it was retitled just Groo. The first issue, Groo makes a statement. It says here, the marvels of the world are but images before me.
It's funny in this comic that we read, they kind of talk like is it the author that kind of talks about
yes,
a little bit of the journey?
I completely forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me, man. Yeah, when the very first page, you see an animated drawn Sergio telling you the history, basically, of Groo and how he's had the character going around for the 70s and stuff like that, and how this was the first time he had kind of got what he wanted. He still was able to keep his creator rights, but find a company that would publish the book for him. So, yeah, I forgot all about that. Thank you. That was in there at the beginning. Kind of give you a little back history of what I'm telling you, basically. Again, Image started facing some legal problems. They got 12 issues. Then it went to Dark Horse in 98. Dark Horse didn't publish it as a regular series, but it was periodically released as new material and reprints as miniseries and collections. 97, there was apparently a card game based on the comic, Groo the Game. And it says here, as of December 2025, Dark Horse Comics announced a 4-issue miniseries titled Groo the Prophecy, scheduled to begin publication April of this year. So it's probably the first issue's probably already come out, probably. of that new one. So all these years later, Groo is still there. He's still in the public eye, in the zeitgeist, if you want to use the word. And I think that's pretty fucking awesome, honestly. Probably one, like it said, Sergio still owns the rights. He's never sold out. He's like, no, this is my baby. I worked hard on it. I've tried to get it everywhere. You guys can publish it for me. And I'm sure there's some kind of deal where they get some kind of compensation. But he gets the final say, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You know, still having all the rights. He gets the final say. And that's great because we've heard stories and we've read stories of people who create stuff. And
Well, just look at Superman.
yeah, exactly. Prime example. You know, something is created by people who love it and stuff. They want to get it out there to the public. They can't do it themselves, so they go to these big companies. Of course, these big companies don't give a shit. They're like, well, hey, we'll buy it from you to publish it for you. But by doing that, we own it. We'll stick your name on it. Because I guess legally we have to.
Well, even like Venom, like Todd McFarlane created Venom and
Yeah.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Which, I
owns
mean, Todd was done with Marvel anyway, so, I mean, he probably did. Still, he should have fought and probably tried to get the rights back from Venom, I guess, but whatever. He was done with the man, as he said, before, and then he became the man, basically, you know. But I think that's awesome. Sergio's probably not the only story of this happening, but probably one of the most successful and longest running creator-owned books, more than likely, except for, I guess, Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
What's his name? I forget now.
Laird.
No, not Laird. That's Turtles.
But you could count Ninja Turtles for a while there on
You
that.
could for a while, yeah. But either way, that's awesome. I'm glad Sergio still got the good book coming out and stuff like that. So.
Oh, and James O'Barr, the Crow.
That's right, O'Barr, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's out there. They might go through some trials and tribulations to get it done, but you don't always got to sell out to the big companies.
That's true.
You know, stand your ground, and eventually somebody will pick it up. And I'm surprised that Marvel did that. I guess in the 80s at the time, Marvel weren't as terrible as I've read reports of how they've been, you know, the past several years with
The
people.
difference between Marvel and DC is Marvel's like, hey, if we can make money, we'll throw it out there.
I feel like DC's that same way, but they just throw money away. Because their stuff's not as good sometimes, I don't think, as Marvel's is.
I would agree.
You know, again, I haven't read, well, last thing I read DC was Superman Unlimited, and I'm like, eh. So.
Yeah, that's fair too.
And Marvel, I haven't read Marvel years.
I was hardcore collecting the X-Men stuff up until like last year, the year before.
Yeah, I remember you're getting every title.
Yeah, but
I hadn't read, God, I guess last time I read like new Marvel stuff was some of the Deadpool stuff, but that was years ago.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so me and Shaun both recommend it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did not buy this online. I did buy it online, but I bought it from a Facebook group. I did not go to our normal, like My Comic Shop or eBay or anything like that, so I'm not really sure what the prices are. Shaun, do you have that information?
Let's find out.
Okay. But yeah, 1985, it's really cool because on the cover here, up in the little box, like, you know, it always would give you a little character in the name. It says Marvel. We got a picture of Groo with his katana. Then below it says Groo 1, March 1985, 75 cents. Man, I love these old prices. And then below that, it says, it's got a big yellow letter E, and it says Epic Comics below it. So, and I love the artwork. Again, Sergio, you know, he did the art and everything. So, it's just really cool. He's a pudgy barbarian. Groo's a pudgy barbarian. But he gets shit done, though. Yeah.
Runs you about $6.
Okay. That's not
for
too bad.
A fine copy.
That's not too bad. Yeah, this copy I got off of that Facebook group is actually probably fine to very fine. It's actually really nice shape. Both of them, 1 and 2, is really nice shape.
Say about $5-10 you can get this.
Give or take. Now, I don't know if they've done trades, possibly. I don't know. But yeah, definitely recommend if you can get your hands on it. It's probably digitally. You might be able to find it somewhere digitally. I don't know if you could or not, but you probably could. If I can, I try to get my hands on it because I just love the physical, being able to hold and read a comic book. But sometimes, you know, you can't do that. yeah. So if you have, do we have any questions or anything?
We do have some questions.
All right.
Up here.
I've got a couple of comments from Discord. I'll read those after you get done.
First one. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen sparrow?
I love Monty Python, but I don't remember the answer to that.
That comes from Jessica. Thank you, Jessica.
I spit on you.
Okay, so now some real questions. Have you ever done a retrospective of Wizard Magazine and their 90s Marvel and DC movie fantasy castings? The rumors of Danzig as Wolverine in 94 were gaining steam then. That would be fun to look back at.
No, we haven't, but now I don't know about you, but I did collect Wizard Magazine for a little while back in the day. I don't know if I have any left.
We'll have to see if we can pick some up, because that'd be really fun.
I used to get them because they had a great price guide in the back of Wizard Magazine too.
Yeah.
And that's what when I used to collect in the 90s, that's what I'd use it for mostly besides reading the articles was my price guide on how much my books was worth and everything. So that would be pretty cool though. I miss Wizard, man. It's great.
That might be a good video thing.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, I miss Wizard Magazine.
That came in from Wally Miles. Wally, as soon as I find some magazines, we'll throw them up on there. That'd be awesome.
Danzig is Wolverine. Damn. I know, that would have been crazy.
That would have been perfect. He's the right size. He's the right build. He's the right attitude.
I was going to say, he had the mutton chop sometimes.
Mother.
Like. Exactly.
Let's see. Aaron commented on that. He said, Bill Goldberg is Nappa from Dragon Ball Z. Almost the same thing.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess it could be, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Aaron said, if we go into doing comic stuff, I'd like to hear y'all talk about some of the Triangle era of Superman, how it went from 91 to 2003 with so much in the middle, Death Return, etc., etc. Well, Aaron, lucky for you, our first episode was on the death of Superman.
Yes, it was.
So we started there, and like the early 2000s, I've got a lot of those books, like Birthright and
I was going to say, yeah, you got all that stuff.
some of the Jeff Johns run and all that stuff. So we will pick up some more Superman. I can promise you that.
Do you have the Energy Superman books?
I have some of them.
Do you? Okay, that was a big deal. I used to have the poster and all that shit back in the day. I was like, Energy Superman? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think you gave me one of the figures for it.
I might have. I can't remember which one it was. Yeah.
Okay, this one comes from Chris. Anyone have bushcraft skills?
No.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know what that's a reference to. But. Gabby says astral projection. I could talk about my experience and how I started in my art if you like. Well, Gabby, I'm down to hear about this.
I'm afraid where I would end up at if I astral projected. Because, like, you leave your body, like, your physical body stays in one place.
Well, you'd be like Xavier, right? Like when he's mental projecting?
Yeah.
Like,
but
what's that one villain, Storm had in the cartoon?
God. Shadow? Was it Shadow?
Shadow King.
Shadow King. Yeah.
Be something like
My
that.
luck, I wouldn't have good control of it. I'd just be, like, flying shit. Or somebody mess with my physical body while I'm out.
All right, this one comes from Nikolai. How do I get more bats around my house? Well, I'm not sure if you're referring to the animal or to the object like you use to hit a baseball. But either one, you can buy them.
That's good. Usually, bats kind of come around their own, especially if you got night lights and a lot of bugs. They'll come flying themselves. The other one, yeah, you can just go buy all them when you want.
Or, saw down some trees and just,
Yeah, the aluminum ones last better, though. They got a nice sound when you crack a head with them. Like, clink.
What would Casey Jones use?
And he would.
All right.
And a hockey stick.
So, Jose Canseco.
Crumpet. That was really cool. Thank you all for those questions. Those are awesome.
That was great.
I love that. I just got a couple comments off of Discord. One was from Old Man Brad. He's like, I've never actually read the Groo comics, but he always loved Sergio's art in Mad Magazine. So that confirms what I thought it was. Mad Magazine, he also worked on that.
Okay.
And one more from Baroness Von Doom. She says that I've never read them, but my husband loves them. Hell yes. Maybe you can pick your husband's brain and maybe he can give us some specific issues that he liked, some specific stories. She says here that he actually met the artist at Comic-Con. I guess that would be Sergio, unless it's somebody else. A few years back to get some things signed, and she says that he was super friendly and open to chatting. That's always great. When I went to the one, I've been to a couple, but I've been a long time. When I went to the one in Knoxville, Fanboy in 2017, I met several voice actors from 80s cartoons I grew up with, and they were super polite, super awesome. Got to meet, oh my God, I always forget his name, and I feel bad because he's gone now. He played the voice of Space Ghost on Coast to Coast.
Crap. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I apologize. I forgot his name. Talked to him, had him sign a picture and stuff for me. He was stewed. He would have stood there and talked probably hours on end because he just loved fans coming up and saying how much they loved his work.
George Lowe?
There you go. George Lowe. Thank you. He just loved hearing fans come up and talk about how much they loved his Space Ghost and, the other stuff that he'd done. He was just super friendly. Even got a couple of cool pictures with him. So anytime you can meet celebrities that you grew up with as a kid or you just fell in love with as an adult and you get to meet them and they're polite like that, it makes your experience so much better. You don't want to meet them and they're all grumpy. Yeah. My brother met Michael Biehn. If you know him, he's from Terminator. He played Kyle Reese. He was in Aliens. Played Hicks. He met him. Maybe just caught him on a bad day. He was just a foul mood feller.
Some people,
my brother. I didn't go up with him. It was my brother's time to meet him, and I just stood back. He come back. He's like, dude, all he did was complain about the directors and stuff. I'm like, it happens, I guess, man. I told him, I said, maybe we just caught him on a bad day. I said, I don't know.
I mean, I had that experience with Kevin Nash, and we had that experience with Misha Collins, the dude from Supernatural.
Which one is that one?
He played like
I don't know that show very well. He wasn't one of them. He wasn't one of the brothers, though, was he?
No, he was one of the other main ones.
Oh, was he the
angel?
The angel or Satan or whatever one? Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know what character he played, but I know the actor's
Castiel.
face. Okay.
Okay, yeah. He was kind of a dick, but
okay, yeah. I thought I told my brother. I was like, maybe we just caught Michael on a bad day. I said, I don't know. Maybe we come on a bad day. But one good thing about that experience. Is he got to meet a couple of voice actors and stuff and get some stuff signed. So he had a good time. He didn't let that one moment ruin him. I told him, I said, don't. I said, just take the positive, leave the negative. I said, maybe one of these days, if we ever get to go to another con and you want to meet him again, I said, maybe he'll be in a chipper mood. I said, life just struck in the wrong way. I said,
And you never know, because like some people you expect to be assholes. Like, I thought Bret Hart was going to be one, but no, he was like the most kindest person I ever met.
Yeah, right. I know. Like, I also met Hacksaw Jim Duggan, dude. You couldn't ask for a sweeter guy.
Oh, he has to be sweet.
He was shaking my hand and talk about a grip on that foot. This is 2017.
He's handled a lot of wood.
Dude. He was just super, super polite, I met Lou Ferrigno. He was polite, but he was all business. I had him sign a couple of things. He's like, do you want them personalized or not? Because if you don't get them personalized, you can sell them. I'm like, I don't plan on selling anything. He was polite, but again, kind of all business. So yeah, I've had, it's always good when you have good experiences like that.
I actually listened to a good Lou Ferrigno podcast. He was on a Pawn Stars podcast.
Oh,
and he talked about like his whole journey to getting to the Hulk and everything.
Yeah, God, that's probably my favorite. And I know he's done a lot of stuff after that, but
he had like some disease when he was a kid.
Is that what caused his deafness? In his ears because of that.
It had something to do with that.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's done really, really well for himself with acting and being able to read lips. I think he can hear a little. I don't remember if he had hearing aids in or not. I think he can hear a little bit. I think he mostly lip reads, I think. But yeah, he's done so much besides Incredible Hulk, but that's what I know him from, and that's my favorite role that he's ever done is Incredible Hulk. I know he's done other kind of B-level movies, in the 80s and stuff, and of course he's on King of Queens as himself, for the longest time. But, all right then, enough chitter-chatter.
All right, so, I think like 2 or 3 months ago,
okay,
I was with my friend, and she brought me to this antique shop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cool. They had, like, old school comics in there.
Yeah.
And she bought some weird ones. Like, there's this one she bought, and it was, like, a full-on, like, porn. Like, graphic.
Well, they're out there, so.
we may cover that one day. But
Okay. Sure.
But until then, I picked this up because it looked like something I get a kick out of.
Okay.
It's called Power Pachyderms.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Power Pachyderms.
It's by Marvel, and it's like a spoof on the X-Men.
This is crazy.
Exactly. It's something we wouldn't do. I'm like, that's it.
That is awesome. And I love the blurb here. It says, warning, any similarity between this book and the X-Men is probably just a cheap commercial ploy.
So it's like a parody book is what I get. I haven't read it yet, so we'll dive into it. But
that is freaking cool as hell, man. I love that. You got, let's see, Elektra. You've got Magneto. I guess that would be Wolverine at the yeah, at the bottom. Strife. No, Silver Samurai. Sorry, Silver Samurai. I don't know which one that is. Not exactly sure. Could be a ripoff of Scott, maybe. I don't know. That's ridiculous. Okay. All right, everybody. Next episode, we will be covering Shaun's pick from Marvel Comics. Power Pachyderms. We're in for a ride together, folks, because I ain't never knew this existed either.
This could be the greatest comic ever, or it could be the worst.
Man, if I don't get a laugh out of that, then I ain't human. It looks funny as hell just the cover itself.
It looks like a B-side comic, like a B-side movie.
It would be, yeah, or like a little extra story at the end of a comic book or something like that.
So yeah, we're doing that.
That's awesome as hell. All right, everybody. So if you want to reach out to us, like a lot of our listeners just did, and send us questions or comments or requests, we have several ways to do that. We have an email, geekswithbeardspod@gmail.com. We have a Facebook page where you can get on there and post, your collections and questions and everything. We have an Instagram. We also have a Discord. It's free to join. Get on there. There's all kinds of different channels. We talk about movies and TV and food and games and just life itself. All kinds of cool stuff to talk about on there. So yeah, I guess that is about it. I don't think I've left anything out, I don't believe. So that will wrap up our episode covering Sergio Aragones' Groo the Wanderer #1 by Epic Comics. Like I said, guys, next time going to be a ride for everybody. Everybody get them pachyderms ready to go.
Yep.
Goodbye, everybody.
Smiles and hands me a can of spam. I'm a willy woolly bear nug, and she's my long term distant local mimic girlfriend. You earn circuit chow, I buy my glow. Little did I know this would end as Bass Pro.
All right. What are we doing next?
You gonna have me take again? I didn't know if you was gonna pick or not.
All right, hold on.
Okay.